Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Resales. My name's Ryan. I buy and sell stuff I buy stuff from flea markets, garage sales, yard sales, and thrift stores and try to flip them online. Uh, Make a few extra bucks on the side. I live stream most mornings, reviewing this whatever happened the previous day, and go over stuff that's sold, stuff I bought, or things of that nature. So today is interesting, and we'll get into it. It involves a whole lot of paperbacks. So I'll get into what I'm trying to pull off, and we'll see if it succeeds over the next week or so. I had a couple sales, nothing extreme. I had a good buying day yesterday, I think, so we'll go over that. First off, sold. You see the stack of stuff behind me? This is a Trailbreaker Transformer. It is a parts robot. It is missing his head and sort of the rear attachment and the weapons and stuff. The rest of this is really pretty good. That's why I kind of had it back there, because it's in really good shape. And if you didn't know it was a Transformer, it would just look like a cool truck. So this is a G1, an original, first run of the Transformers back in 84, 85, after they came to America. So that's a pretty cool. So this only went for, I think, $11. So it wasn't, this is like a $30 robot or something plus if you accessories and all that, and it's a pretty expensive deal. But as it is, $10. So hopefully somebody's satisfied with that. Next up, and this goes into a little bit of what I was talking about. If I can find the stack. This is what I get for sold. Well, there we go. Anyway. Here they are. Sold on Facebook Marketplace. 3 books. An Arlstein Fear Street, New Kids on the Block book, and Christopher Pike book. These are all kind of 80s, 90s paperbacks. So these are $1 a piece plus shipping. So $3 plus shipping. I think the whole thing was $8 for those 3 books. And I'll explain, these were part of a bigger deal that I'm about to get into in a few minutes after we go over what I bought. So those are my only 2 sales. But I got some pending stuff, and we'll see how that shakes out. Stuff I selling. Yeah, okay. I got this stuff listed yesterday, too. So we'll go into it. Bible. Okay. Start off. These are weird. Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson, hardcover first editions. I'm trying to figure these out a little bit, because it looks like some of these books are going for $25 a piece. The original run hardcover first edition Percy Jacksons. I actually had this one laying around, and I would have listed it earlier, I think, if I had known. But I put both of these in the lot for $50. I picked this one up yesterday from a yard sale, and not from a thrift store. I got another one just like it. So this is kind of interesting. So I'm going to see how that pans out. I have seen something to where the hardcovers are going for a bunch. The first edition hardcovers, for some reason, are going for a lot of money. And the paperbacks are going, of this edition, not the later printings, but like the first run of the Percy Jackson books. Let's see, I've got some right here. These are lotting up really well at like $5 a piece. Like 5. So if you get, I am grabbing these if they're in good shape, like with no spine cracking. I'm grabbing these if they're in good condition. And once I get about 3 of them, I'm going to lot them up at like 15 and see what happens. But these are going kind of crazy high. So We'll see how that shakes out. I'm kind of interested to see how that wonders. Next up, Bibles. Clean leather-bound Bibles that, they're in really good shape, tend to do okay. About the only ones I see that don't are sort of, even some of these, like modern King James versions and maybe modern NIVs that are leather-bound don't tend to do well. But older Bibles or sort of specialty stuff. This is a King James Bible, but what it is, it's a large print, compact Bible. It's not real big, and it's large print for a compact Bible. It's actually not that. It's almost like standard size if it was a slightly bigger, more normal size Bible. But it looks like this is going from about 15 to 20 bucks if I recall. And so I'm put it up. It's clean. There's no name in it. There's no highlighting. The other thing is people like red letter editions where the words of Jesus Christ are written in red. And this has that as well. So good clean Bibles, nice leather binding. To me are always worth picking up. The older, kind of the better. I had it was a Schofield, sort of a Schofield study Bible. It was King James. It was in the 40s. I got like $60 for it a few months ago. So learn your Bibles. I'm still sitting on one though that I thought would sell a little faster and it hasn't. But we'll see how this one does. So there we go. This John Wayne Code. It's more of a almost like a small. This is more for decorative, I guess. Leather bound. I think it's out of print though, and so this has a few dings in the leather and that sort of stuff. But I got it up for like 15 to 20 bucks, and we'll see how that goes. But it's just sort of sayings and stuff about from John Wayne that I think it's the company that his kids or their grandkids or whatever run, and they publish some stuff every now and then. So I need some coffee. And that. Two more really good finds. First off, Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass Collector's Edition. This is a Prima strategy guide. It has the poster with it. Most Prima guides, the paperback ones, the resale on those isn't real high. What does resell though are like the really nice. They're bigger. These collector editions are hardcover, neat covers on them. They're bigger books and a little more readable. Usually they have a couple extras in them, like maps and that, like fold out, posters and maps and that sort of thing. This one I think I got up for about $50, give or take. So it was a real neat find. I didn't even look it up when I grabbed it. I saw Zelda on the cover, a hardcover Zelda. So I figured it was a strategy guide. It was a Prima, hardcover Prima guide, so I grabbed it. It's one of the surprising things that the other Prima guides tend not to do well, but I wonder if that's not like an internet influence where all this stuff is going to be on the internet somewhere. But there's still, if you're like me sometimes, you'd rather have it in a book where you can kind of sit right there and look at it and flip through a little bit rather than go back and forth on a computer screen and have that aggravate, or a phone and have that aggravation. It just didn't work well. Next up, I had to grab this. I don't think it's worth a ton. But this is a former church library book, The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. And this is, I think it's from like the 30s or something along those lines. It's a little old, still well bound. Just a neat little old book. It has the church library marking on it. So I'm going to probably lot this up with some other stuff. Or I have some theology books. I'll put it in a stack with that, put it on Facebook, and see if I can get $5 to $10 for it. But it doesn't seem to be going much more than that on eBay if it sells. So, but it's a neat old book, and you know me, I can't pass up a whole lot of books pre-war. So, particularly religious ones. So, worth grabbing there. Finally, another hymnal. This one's a weird one. That is Hymns of Grace, and it is a primitive Baptist hymnal from 1968. So, you see right there. Clean, no church on the front. I couldn't find this, particularly this particular edition anywhere. So I found some other primitive Baptist hymnals and used those a little bit as a guide, but there really wasn't that many. So I'm going to start this at 50, and we're going to see what happens with it. It may be worth 10, but I doubt it. I think this is worth a little bit, partially because of its rarity. I did look on, I think, hymnody.org. There's a couple websites out there that take these old hymnals and list what is in them. And this was, I found this hymnal in that listing. But it's an actual old hymnal. Somebody donated a stash of them this past, not too long ago. Page folded up there. And so I've gotten, this is about the third hymnal this week, or over the past couple weeks that I've gotten out of Goodwill. So it was a neat find. And hymnals are the type of thing, they come in batches some days. And I've actually had a couple of instances where like a church donated stacks of old hymnals, cleared them out, sold them all every time. And they actually sell better that way because another church may need them. So if you come across stacks of hymnals, I would say for $1 or less, unless they're Baptist hymnals or unless they're very specific editions or something like that, grab them because you're going to be able to flip them. I'm a big believer in the hymnals because they've been pretty successful for me. So finally, paperbacks, 240 of them. I've let them build up way too much. Well, I was getting them really cheap, 10 to 25 cents a piece from a couple places, and I was grabbing mostly sci-fi and fantasy paperbacks, and I would keep some. I've kept a few, and I've sold a few, but not. And I've sold kind of enough to kind of pay for and make a little money off of what I sold. But I've just gotten way too many, and what I was hoping would happen was I would get enough to kind of get in a series or complete a series or get enough of one author that would be worth putting on eBay and reselling, and it kind of hadn't happened. And I've gotten caught up with some other stuff, and it's just not worth the while to do it at this point in time. So I put them all on Facebook at $1 a piece plus shipping. I'm in a few Facebook book groups, and the hope there is see if somebody dump at least some of them before I bring them back to the thrift stores. So that was my plan, and it's maybe turning out. I sold what I showed you earlier, the three books came out of that lot, and sold those pretty quickly. I've got another stack, what you saw in the picture. 11 books that I got picked out, and those will be sold hopefully tomorrow. It's one of those, hey, I need to get paid and I'll pay you. We'll see. Usually, about half the time that turns out. The other side is I got a Facebook message the other day of a guy wanting the rest of them. So like 200, I think I actually started like 260. After these are taken, I got 240 books that the guy wants all of them. We'll see how it works out. If he wants them, I'll be happy to ship them. That's a great thing about media mail. I'll be able to put them all in about 3 boxes, I think. and ship them out for not a lot of money. I'll put a couple hundred in my pocket. If I can do it on Facebook, it'd be even better because I don't have to necessarily. All I have to deal with is like that 3% Facebook fee, which I always work into a price anyway. I never do the thing where they do goods and services, but I never charge that 3%, or I just work it into the price. I don't say, oh, you got to do this, then add the money. I'm not that. I'm not that particular about doing precise math with some of this sometimes, and it's never really burned me. So hopefully that'll come to fruition to one degree or another, and we'll see. So I've had a couple people reach out. I think I've had a couple guys like, where do you live? Because it's some of this stuff is not. They're dollar books. They're worth $1, $2, or $3, and they're worth it if you can come by and pick them out and pay me cash. But it's one of those weird worlds where shipping them doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you buy enough in bulk to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, it's almost not worth dealing with. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to get all those boxes of books out by the end of the year, one way or the other. So that may be. I wish I had half price books locally. That would be great. That would be a great place to dump them as well. But it's don't have it, so can't do it. I may run some of them through one of those scanning apps and see if some of them ping. But usually, if you have one of the scanning app that from one of those online places that buys your book, sell it online because it's worth about 3 times of what they're going to pay you, and so it's a good way to figure out what's actually just valuable and what's worth reselling. Sometimes I don't do a lot of scanning when I'm looking, unless I'm just looking stuff. I do the eBay scan when I'm looking stuff up there. So that is that lecture. So we will see how it shakes out long term, and I'll let you know if I sell 240 paperbacks and ship them out all at one time. I bet it's another reseller, and that's fine too. So like, comment, subscribe, leave some ideas if you got them, and I'll see you next time.